Welcome to the Plum 6 parts video. Welcome to the next part of tr6 gearbox rebuild. So, we put the main shaft in, and what I've done is I basically just brought it over to the press here, and I've taken the cloth over, and I just simply need to have it standing vertical. The bearing is not on the bottom, so this main shaft can still move it out. Here we come to the most difficult part, which is trying to line up these gears with that one. Now, it seems pretty straightforward. If you put the press, put the two bearings on, put the shaft in, everything should be good. But the problem is, though, the reason why it doesn't work as easy as that is the gears. Let's say this is the other one, the gears. The gears are meant to sort of slide into position. Not if you're off, they're just going to jam into it, and you're never going to get them in. So when I say that, let me maybe show you a little better than that. Here's the gearing, all right? So if you go to push one on top of the other, it won't exactly sit in correctly. It sort of has to go on, and you have to sort of wiggle it, that it slides into the grooves, especially this one, because these teeth are wider than these cross threads or cross hatches. So you have to get it down and wiggle it in. Anyway, so this is what we're going to do. I have put the shaft up the top here, as you can see. And all I've done with it is I've placed it down enough that at the rear, the lay shaft gearing I've pushed in, so it's sitting on top of it. But what you want to do is, you want to be able to wiggle this out with this gearing already in it, with the two sets of gearing in it. And you want to line up that they actually line up together. What you're trying to achieve by that is, it's not necessarily achieving much, because you have to take it back up and push back out again. But you want to make sure it actually lines up, and that when you spin one, you spin the other. Now I've already done this, but I'm going to do it again anyway. So for the shaft, all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these gears out as far outwards here as I can get, to allow the one behind to come out. Now the good thing about on this is I can reach a hand up. Well, I might have turned it sideways a bit, just enough to push the gearing out. My finger, or if not, you can get a screwdriver, and I'm going to shove it up and just pull the gearing out. And what I'm trying to do is get the lay shaft to go all the way back down again. Again, the purpose of this is to, in order for the shaft to come out, these will have to line up. So it's mainly your selector and first gear that cause the problems, because they don't want to sort of line up. Now what I might have, actually, do what I might have to do, twist it sideways, because I don't think this is, there you go, this wasn't coming out far enough. I wasn't allowing the gearing to come out. So I'm going to rotate it a bit, just enough that I can actually get a hand in at the back. There we go. Now stand and move. I'll turn it this way a bit. know if you heard that, but that was the shaft just going all the way down. Alright. So now I've got the shaft all the way down. Now I'm full of grease. So you can see the shaft went all the way down. So it took a bit of play, but look at the gap, or should I say, look at the space in here. So the gear in an ideal world, if you could go in, it'd be great, but it's not going to go in. So that's why the lay shaft has to come out to allow the gears to drop when you take it out in the first place. So it's the reverse. But the whole point is that when you put this in, is that these gears, if you turn this, if the bearing was in there, you should be able to actually, the whole lot should want to turn, because they're interconnected. And again, this is the hard part, because putting the bearing in here, it's going to want to push the shaft of the gearing down. And of course, what doesn't help is reverse gear, because that reverse gear gets stuck in there. So what we're looking at is turning this shaft, turning this to make sure that the back one rotates all the way. And that's how we know that it's lined up with the teeth. Now, here's where you have an option. One, you can press in the bottom bearing. Now that that's lined up, that works fine. And drop the lay shaft and go from there again. However, this is the easier one to do. The harder one is obviously the top one because it doesn't fit in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the shaft back out and I'm going to put the top one in. I want to get the top one in and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to keep wiggling it with the bottom out until I get it to line up, and then I'm going to put the bottom shaft in. Alright? So, now that fitted, I can take it back out. Again, I'm going to put the shaft in and just I want to be able to push the gearing in at the back just enough that I can get this other one in. Because again, when we drop this in, we have to rotate it. Sorry, it's dripping because I put oil in there. We have to rotate it that it lines up with the gearing. So the bearing's on there, the ball bearing. So that's set down nice and easy. I went all the way down, which is good. All right, I pushed all the way down. So now that it's in there, now I can do the same again. So now I'm going to keep whittling it because obviously, as you can see, it hasn't lined up correctly yet. And I'm going to wiggle it until I can get the gearing and get this lay shaft all the way down. Once I get the lay shaft in, then I can press the back bearing because I know they line up, so I should be able to manipulate it. Once you have it in, again, you could do the same thing. You could not put the shaft in and then put the bottom one in and then press that in position, and again you have to line up. It's just hard because you don't want to grind the gears either. So I want to be able to get the top lay shaft in so much, so I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to turn it and pull the gearing out to allow the lay shaft to go down again. Sorry, my head's going to get in the way here. Now remember, it was hard enough to do this with the top gear not in, so now it's even harder with it in. Yeah. So all this gearing does actually have to come up a bit. Getting there. Okay. Oh, there's the lay shaft starting to go down. Now, neither that I can feel the back gears wanting to move. So, alright. The lay shaft is going down so far. So I'm not going to go too much because these gears need to spin around. Well, I say spin around, they need to be raised up because the bottom bearing needs to go in, so it needs to be pressed in a bit more. So here's where the next hard part comes in. Is that now that it's in, it's pushing the bearing in from the bottom to make sure it's all lined up. Now the lay shaft, as you can see at the top, I haven't got it all the way in, but I can push it down more if I wanted it. But I don't want it to go too much because I want to make sure there's still enough room for a bit of maneuver. Bearing. What do you know? I think I came over for that one. I think I did. Alright, so now I want to raise it up. So I need to be able to get the bearing in there. Now, based on the height difference between this, what I have is I'll have to put 2 blocks of wood under here to raise it again, actually. Because the only other way of doing it is to put a socket or some of that and run it all the way down. But I have tape on the bottom that I haven't taken off yet. Let me go get the blocks of wood and it'll give me more room. There we go. Alright. So I've raised it up on the wood here just so I can get the tape off as well. Just be mindful to hold it because it wouldn't be a bad time for this gearbox to drop and pinch some fingers. Of course, the tape had to rip on me. So I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna get a blade. This tape was on it. I don't know if you've seen the previous one. This tape was on it to stop the gearing from falling off when I put it in, actually. Alright. So I can put the washer I had on it. Oop. The bushing's coming out. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to actually put the bearing all the way up. Oh. Alright, so now I have to press these all the way in. So the lay shaft is sitting so far down. I'd ideally like to get the lay shaft the rest of the way down before I actually press this in, just to make sure that the wiggle room. So I'm going to try to do that. The only way of really doing it is to turn the gears. Because now this is where the pressure is on everything. So it's easier said than done. Let me press it down first. Hopefully, as I press it down, I can get the lay shaft to go in better. So as I rotate it, there goes the shaft down. There we go. Almost in. Stuck in my bear here. Here's the hard part, because now once we get the gears to line up, so I'm just slowly turning them. So the lay shaft is actually rotating. So now when you get the gears in, we're almost home. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring it up to the bench and see if you can get it in the last little bit. Alright, let's go to the bench. So as you can see, the lay shaft is almost in. So now I have to manipulate it to go in the last bit. I suspect I'm gonna have a look at it. I suspect the thrust washer and all is getting in the way, so it's just that last bit of pressure. Might tap it in. Hopefully it taps in. Keep looking at it to see which way it is. Alright, the gearing is torn at the back. Obviously it's just not all the way in. You can see what she's almost doing. Look at the shadow. You can see she's just hitting off the casing now. So now I'm going to get a screwdriver and try and move it off the casing. So this is the hard part of it. Just getting it to line up that final bit. Because this is where all the pressure is. So like I said, the last time when you at the start you tap it out and it just takes the pressure off and going down, it's the opposite. You're putting the pressure on it. Now, like I said, the only other option we have is to take this bearing upwards and see if we can allow the shaft to go through again, hold it in position and put this bearing back down. So, like I said, there's a couple of different ways. There is different ways of doing it. I don't know if I'm going to get this gear. I'm just wondering if I tap it with a hammer, will it go in? But I don't want to wreck it either. That's the problem. Where did the hammer go? Oh, hammer's on the far side. And she's in. So before we before a loser falls out, now I have to tap it in and put the shaft in it. The retaining shaft. That one, and then I have to push the reverse one out. The reverse shaft has gone up a tiny bit, it's gotten stuck on the gearing. There we go. I was getting stuck in the gearing. Alright, so we have movement. Now we're going to go back and put our retainer in again. And once we get the retainer in, we can put the washer in the clip there, and that will keep the bearing in as well. That will stop the shaft from actually sliding back in and actually loosening everything off. Actually, let's put the washer on now. So this way we don't lose the gearing. I said this part is not the easy part of it. It is finicky. Good, great. Yep, that's that in, and now we can put the let's put our retainer in. Well, back in for the second time. And that's the funny part, is now getting everything turned back around again. I need the pliers to turn it. Ooh, it's gonna fall off. Okay, so where's my little hammer? Nice and easy. And then, like I've done before, when I get so far down, just use like a chisel, just enough flat, just to. This needs a bit more turn. I don't want to force it down. Obviously, it was easy to do the first time when I inverted it. And the screw. Where's it gone? Okay. Alright, where'd it go? There it is. So there's only so many you have on. You can put a bit of Loctite in this if you want. I'm not going to. Now this is sticking out a tiniest little bit, so. Because I can see from the edge here, it just sticks out a tiny bit. So now we have that in, we can go back to now we can go back to the front and actually put both the cover on, and we can actually put the seal on, the oil seal. These are 20 pounds. So if you're using an extension, obviously you might want to go 21, because obviously you don't get the same amount of power. Or even 22, because the longer the shaft, the more you lose on it. It's not an easy feat to do, but as I said, if you have a spare gearbox, it's great to do this because now putting this back on, if you remember, the lump to the lump. So we have our oil seal in there, so lump to lump, and that's it. I believe there is a gasket for this. It is shaped, so it does go one side, so just a quick second and I'll put a bit of oh, it's over this end, paste. Again, just a small amount. You don't need a great amount on it. You can, if you can't brush it on in case it falls off, what you can do is put on little tiny blobs, and when you put it on, it will actually smear anyway. It will spread. Sorry, a bit went down here on me. I'd rather not have it in there. Even though it's only sitting on the bearing case. Alright. So I said the lump on this part goes to the lump here. That's the easiest way to remember. And you have a choice. You can use flat washers for this, or you can use lock washers. Because it's a seal, an oil seal, I'm going to use lock washers. Again, this should be the same torque, 20. And what we're going to do is similar to like a car, we're going to cross pattern, so we'll do one side. And then cross over. Like an X. And again, with all the gearboxes together, you can double check all your torques. Like a wheel, always check them twice. I just do it once because when it's actually fully all done, I'll double check all the torque settings. Alright, so now we have our main shaft back in. So obviously the next thing to do would be put the counter shaft back on. But obviously what we want to do is make sure it spins good. So a little bit of gear oil is always good. So what you want to make sure is these spin freely, and obviously when you're into reverse, and that spinning from the front, sorry, that will hold it there. Just make sure all the gears move from the front end when you put your hand on the front, and it all moves. As you can see, this how you know reverse. See this one here, it goes one direction, and then when you let it slip into reverse, it will go the opposite way, and you'll see it on the output shaft as well. So again, now you put it in. What you want to check for as well, now when you put oil in it, is check for any little chips or bores you might have got with the gears sitting on top of each other. That's why I put the cloth in originally, and then I stood it vertically to try stop them sitting on top of each other. So once it goes in, stand it upright. Once it goes in, I stood it upright, so therefore they're not going to grind, and I can keep that, like, the separation away, and I'm not going to grind gears. But just check. They'll always somehow bang off each other, or bang on the way in, or clip this and that. So you're just checking to make sure you haven't taken any chips out. And any little bores, you can again get a little file and just make sure everything is nice and easy, everything is good on it. So yeah, that's it. So that's it for this part. The next part we'll move on to will be putting the rear counter shaft in. There's not much to it. I've pressed the bearing in. So again, it only goes in one way. It goes down this direction. When you get it new, if you get this style, it will come with this ring on it, similar to the other bearings. It does come with this on it. You can take it off because that does not go in there. Just be mindful that there is a washer that will go on. We'll go through. There's another washer that sits here, and then the bearing goes in, and then we put a nut and thing on. Then obviously the gaskets and so on. And then that's basically the main body of the gearbox. From there then, we'll move on to our gear selector, and we'll start assembling that. That's going to be its own fun because one end of it, the top end of it, is actually meant to be screws where you put the ball bearings and the springs, but it's not. It's like a tap, and it's solid in there. So we're going to try something new to see if I can find a different way of getting them in, other than just trying to force them in. I'm gonna try a few different ways and see which is maybe a little better way of getting it. But that's it for now. Again, any comments, questions, concerns, give me a shout. I hope this was helpful. Yes, it's easy to look at a video and do it, but when you do it yourself, trust me, you will get frustrated. It will bug you. There's a good chance at some point you're going to get a finger pinched or take some skin off somewhere, as that's what it is. Remember that. But I'd always suggest to do it with a spare gearbox first. If you have good old synchros and everything, that's what I do. Before you throw money at it in the way of new ball bearings and everything, take it apart, put it back together. And then once you get that, then yes, you can move on to replacing new parts. You don't want to ruin your synchros if you cannot put it back together again. There's not much that can wrong, but you don't want to drop them and chip them, like I have to pay the money for them. So yeah, that's my suggestion. But again, it's all down to your comfort level. Again, I hope this was helpful. I hope, as I said, after watching this, you hit the subscribe button. Like I said, I really appreciate all the people who have subscribed to the channel. I'm looking forward to the next part of all the other videos. And if there's any other video or anything you would like, by all means, give me a shout and I'll try my best to get to it at some point. Obviously, I'm on gearbox related now. And I'll say it again, I will have Doug's tr6 coming back to me very soon. Hopefully next, it's Christmas time obviously now. And I hope to be doing some live feeds as I actually put it together. So again, as far as I know, if you want to throw some messages across, you have to buy some membership. There is some cheap ones available on my YouTube channel. And yeah, so see you in the next part and we'll continue to put this gearbox together. Thanks for watching.